I don't know, it's just that challenge, man versus beast, the camaraderie, your mateship that goes along with it.
So was it from that very first moment at that radio that love was sparked, or did it take
Oh,
it?
yeah, no, it was pretty much that first one.
A bit like your first date at McDonald's.
A bit like when I saw her walking through college.
I think a lot of young people in agriculture, the dream is to own your own farm. You guys obviously achieved that at a fairly young age and then made the decision to sell.
It's always been my dream, I think Karen's too, to have our own farm and be farmers, beef producers. It's just been a big cycle where we went right through the drought and got to the stage where if we didn't get out, we're going to lose everything. So we decided to get out while we can. Had enough money to buy this place. There's only a little farm here, 100 acres. But now we're getting to the stage we're starting to build cattle numbers up again, just on adjustment country. So it's been a big cycle back to the first goal 30 years ago.
Behind the scenes of that, have you found that there's kind of been this evolution that maybe owning the country isn't the pinnacle? You can still be farmers and run your business without having to...
Yeah. I mean, ideally, to have your own farm would be lovely, but adjustment, you don't have to check fences, spray burrs, water, anything.
Yeah.
If it gets dry, you can just pick your cattle up and move. You can't do that with, find a bit of area where it's a bit wetter. And
what's it like as a sports person? Like in your head, you're still fully capable, but maybe your body's starting to let you down. What was that decline like, where you're still, mentally capable of performing at the top level?
Once there, you just haven't got that reflex. Just a bit slower, and when you hit the ground, it takes a bit of getting up at sometimes. And the recovery's a bit slower too.
Yeah.
But I always worked, when I was riding, I always worked 5-6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always fit that way. But I suppose when you get a bit older too, you slow up a little bit and don't do as much strenuous work as you should.
So tell me a little bit more about the accident, what you're doing at the time.
So I've been in the sale yards working. Been 2 big years. We were smashing records in there. Like one day we had 10,000 cattle.
Wow. Which
is pretty big for in here at Dubbo, where they used to average 5,500. Must have been the drought, was it? Yeah. To have so many cattle come in. Must have been a dry time. But so I was coming home, and obviously didn't make it home.
Yeah.
Collided with a tree just up the road here, and the car caught a light. And because I hit the tree, the motor had come back on my lap, and I was trapped in the car. And then I was sort of in and out of consciousness. But I do remember waking up and the fire was burning inside the centre console. So I had my seatbelt on. I got struggling and couldn't get out, and I got to the stage, well, if I don't get the seatbelt off, I'm going to die. So it's that mentally toughness, put your hand in the fire and I'm getting out no matter what, which is what I'm going back to, what radio I think helped me get through that.
So you remember those moments trapped inside the car?
Remember certain parts where I was conscious.
Yeah.
And I remember the neighbour that lives up the road here that pulled me out. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here now. Big man, strong enough to pull me out. I don't regret it. Actually, one thing I probably do regret is spending so much time away from Karen doing it.
Yeah.
Especially now, the position we're in. But yeah.
I sort of joke that there was actually nothing wrong with his left leg and his left hand. I just had the doctors amputate them to make sure he would stop bull riding, because he was still he was out with an injury when he had his car accident.
What would you guys hope that people may take from the story that you guys have shared?
Just not to give up. We've all got places we want to be, a nice house or whatever your goal is. Just because you have one hiccup doesn't mean your goal's over. You can still get there.
I think that ties in so well, and I need to ask the question because we ask it on every podcast. But in terms of if you guys had the chance to go in and talk to a class of Year 10 students, they're 16-year-olds, what would be your advice to them about pursuing a career in agriculture and regional Australia and what it could provide to them?
Yeah, and mine would probably be just don't think you have to lock something in and make the right decision. Just get out there and do something, like whether it's going up north and working on a station or going anywhere and just getting your foot in the door, and then you never know where life's going to lead you. I think we've found that too. It's just ever changing.